You check your phone again, no new messages. You open an app, scroll for a minute, close it. Open another one, same result. Nothing happened. But something in your chest still tightens. That tightness has a name, and it is far older than phones, older than cities, older than language itself. What if loneliness is not a feeling at all? What if it is an alarm? Think about what an alarm actually does. A smoke alarm does not care about smoke, it cares about fire. The smoke is just the signal that something dangerous is happening somewhere you can't see it yet. Hunger works the same way. You don't feel hunger because your stomach is empty. You feel hunger because your body is running low on fuel, and the empty stomach is just the signal. So ask yourself, what is loneliness warning you about? For most of human history, the answer was simple. Being alone meant being unsafe. Your ancestors did not survive the African savanna by being strong individually. A single human, alone, was slow, weak-clawed, and bad at smelling predators in the dark. A human in a group was a different animal entirely. Eyes everywhere, shared food, someone to carry the wounded. Psychologist John Cacioppo spent decades studying this exact question. He found that loneliness doesn't just make you sad, it changes your biology. Lonely people show elevated levels of stress hormones. Their immune systems behave differently, more inflamed, more on guard. Their sleep gets lighter and more fragmented, as if some part of the brain refuses to fully power down. Why would your body do that? Because for the vast majority of human history, a person sleeping alone, far from the group, was a person in real danger. Light sleep wasn't a flaw, it was a feature. The body of a lonely human prepares for threat because for nearly all of evolutionary time, isolation and threat were the same thing. You are not broken when loneliness keeps you up at night. You are running software written 200,000 years ago. Here's where it gets stranger. Anthropologist Dunbar studied primate brains and found something unexpected. The size of a primate's social group correlates almost perfectly with the size of a particular region of its brain, the neocortex. Bigger groups, bigger brains. Humans with our oversized neocortex are built for a social group of roughly 150 people, not 150 followers, 150 people you actually know, whose lives you could roughly track, whose betrayals or loyalty would actually matter to you. That number is now called Dunbar's number. It shows up again and again in hunter-gatherer bands, in military companies, in the size of stable villages throughout history. Your brain was built for a world of about 150 faces. Now count how many people you actually talk to in a normal week. This is the gap. Not a gap in popularity. A gap between the social world your brain expects and the social world you actually live in. Your ancestors were never alone for long because being alone for long usually meant being dead. A hunter-gatherer separated from the group faced predators, exposure, starvation, all without backup. Evolution did not need to explain this danger to your ancestors in words. It only needed to make isolation feel bad enough that they would walk back toward the fire. That feeling is still inside you. It just has nowhere modern to point. You can be surrounded by people and still feel the alarm going off. A packed subway car, a loud office, a group chat with 40 unread messages. None of it satisfies the ancient requirement, because the requirement was never about proximity. It was about belonging, about knowing, on some animal level, that if something went wrong tonight, someone would notice. Researcher Julianne Holt-Lunstad ran a massive analysis combining data from over 300,000 people, tracking who lived and who died over years of follow-up. Her finding was blunt. Chronic loneliness was associated with a higher risk of early death, comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day, higher than the risk linked to obesity, higher than the risk linked to physical inactivity. Read that again. Loneliness on its own can shorten a human life by a measurable amount. Why would a feeling have that kind of power over a body? Because it isn't just a feeling, it's a warning light connected to systems that were never designed to stay on for years at a time. A smoke alarm screaming for 10 seconds saves your life. A smoke alarm screaming for 10 years wears down everything around it. Short bursts of loneliness An evening alone, a stretch of travel, a breakup, those push you back toward connection. That is the alarm doing its job. But modern life has a habit of disconnecting the alarm from any clear path back to safety. You can feel the warning without ever locating the fire. There's no campfire to walk back to, no tribe waiting with food and recognition, just a notification screen glowing offering the appearance of contact without the weight of it. So your nervous system stays activated quietly for years, waiting for a return to the group that never fully arrives. This is also why isolation hits some life stages harder than others. New parents, often physically alone with an infant for the first time in human history, in a way no hunter-gatherer ever was. The elderly, frequently cut off from daily contact after children move away or partners die, often experience a steep and measurable decline in both mood and physical health afterward. Teenagers, intensely wired to seek peer belonging, can experience social exclusion as something closer to physical pain than emotional discomfort, because to the ancient brain, exclusion from the group at that age once meant a serious threat to survival. None of this is weakness, it's architecture. You are running an operating system built for tribes of around 150, deployed into a world of strangers, screens, and scattered family. So what do you do with an alarm you can't simply switch off? You don't fight the alarm. You answer it the way it was designed to be answered, not 100 new contacts, not a louder online presence. The research keeps pointing towards something smaller and slower, a small number of people who actually know what's happening in your life right now and check in without being asked. Cacioppo's later work found that the antidote to loneliness wasn't simply increasing the number of social contacts. It was the quality and reciprocity of the bond. One or two real connections did more for the nervous system than a wide circle of acquaintances. That tracks with everything else you've just learned. Your ancestors didn't need 150 best friends. They needed a small, dependable circle inside the larger 150, people who would notice if they didn't return from the hunt. So the next time that tightness shows up while you're scrolling, while the room is quiet, while the messages aren't coming, try not to read it as proof that something is wrong with you. Read it the way you'd read any other alarm, a signal, not a sentence. You check your phone again. This time, instead of opening another app, you put it down and call someone. Not to fix the loneliness instantly, just to walk back toward the fire. That's all the alarm ever wanted.